1 of 2022. I remember there was a session paper, number 1, was it number 6? Number 9 in 1965. We never did anything. A beautiful session paper that was borrowed and used by Singapore, Malaysia and others, and made us, we did the work, they did the implementation. The biggest problem that we face is implementation. The national automotive policy is nothing new. It has been there in many countries: Nigeria, South Africa, Malaysia, Indonesia, India, many other countries. So what we're doing is basically following the old routine. Because so-and-so has an automotive policy, we must have an automotive policy. I have read this automotive policy, the 44 pages of it. And I'm going to say this, and I'm sorry, it's a good idea, but that was a good idea 20 years ago. Now they're coming up. I mean, what do they say? Seek to create an enabling environment for the automotive sector to realize its full potential and position as a major player in the industry. Aims to improving local automotive assembly ecosystems to expand the local market size by promoting manufacturing. It's good words, but literally we are talking about the old petrol vehicles over 40, 30 years ago. This was the automotive policy that was to be used for the Neo car. I've seen that Neo car. In India, they stopped importation of cars. They took an old Fiat model and built it 100% in India. They called it the Ambassador. Nobody, not even the Prime Minister of India, could buy another car other than the Ambassador. I sat in that vehicle, and if we got there, then they started the smaller vehicles, 1000 cc. Nobody, whether you were a minister or whatever, could go more than 1000 cc's. Not long ago, in the 10th Parliament, when I was listening, I was a member of Parliament, we were told we are going to ban all four-wheel drives, and we are going to bring Passat, and we are going to bring the smaller vehicles. And there was none other than the finance minister at the time, Uhuru Kenyatta. What happened? I think we went and buy some Passats because it suited somebody. We found the Mercedes were cheaper than the Passat to run. But the whole thing fell apart. If you look at our car park, Mr. Speaker, sir, we are full of four-wheel drives, totally inefficient fuel consumption, huge guzzlers of power. You go to the Westminster Parliament, people are driving in, coming in on bicycles. You go to the Malaysian Parliament, that's what they're doing. They're coming in on Malaysian vehicles, Malaysian and other things like this. So as I say, it's a good policy. We wanted it for the numerical machines, we wanted it for other things. But we have taken and cannibalized the automotive policy, a national automotive policy of other countries. I want you to read it, Honorable Kiari. Please read it and put it next to the one for Malaysia. Put it next to the one from South Africa. Why do we now want to go for this? What I'm hoping to do, we want to take this thing, make it relevant for now. How do we make it relevant? We don't need to go and produce those old computers. We want to produce these things. We want to produce vehicles that are now valid, hybrid, electrical vehicles, vehicles that can run on hydrogen, vehicles that can be hybrid. Mr. Honorable Speaker, sir, when I was the mayor of Kisumu, we started the bicycles, border, as my brother says. And there were not more than 300 borders in Kisumu. Within a year, with support from other people and the United Nations, we were over 10,000 border bicycles. We then graduated to motorcycles. We graduated to three-wheelers. Now the motorcycle is one of the most important vehicles in this country. You can go from point A to point B on a motorcycle. Many of us who don't care too much about big things have ridden motorcycles. I've seen Honorable Kerry rid. If I want to go to a place where there's a lot of traffic, I'll ride the border. The border is what we call, as you call it, grassroots economy, bottom up, if you want to call it that way. So what we need to do is to take those bottom up. Let's not go on the big vehicles. Okay, we want the lorries and everything else. The engines are made. The rest of that car, other than perhaps the engine and the engine block, we have the technology to make everything else here. We can make those bodies, we can make everything we can. But this policy says that a national automotive council is to be set up. Now who is in the council? Those old thinking of the past, KM, KVM, Nanani. They don't want produce. They don't want to have an informer. The Toyotas are selling beautiful, they're selling their vehicles. The Japanese are selling their scrap vehicles here, and we are going and buying them. We are a consumer society. So when you hear, I mean, in my time, I thought a Porsche was one vehicle that was used for specialized people. A Porsche. Nowadays you see Porsches here like anything, and they're not the Porsches we used to know. So what we are trying to suggest here is let's do the thing, but in a new way, like we did M-Pesa. We did not go for those old analog machines. We went for change. So the change we want is hybrid. The change we want is electric. I was in Pakistan not long ago, maybe 2 years ago. And then I found out something the other day. And I'm telling you this. They are taking a motorcycle, they're changing the rear wheel, and that rear wheel has an electric motor in it. It costs no more than So the time is, that's what we need to do. We don't need long, drawn-out policies. That's very good. Let's do them. But those are old policies that are going to take us back to the past. We need to look at this policy, and Honorable Kerry and others who know about this, we need to call them and say, hold on a second, where are we going? Are you now trying to tell us we want to build trams in London, here in Nairobi, or do we want to bring old technology? We don't. We want new technology. We need bicycle. I mean, the thing is, you know, bicycle. Why can't we make a bicycle here in Dangoreti? They say it is that little thing is called an engine. We can't make that engine. Surely not. We have made so many things at numerical machines, Mr. Honorable Chair. I used to sell tractors. We used to bring scrap tractors from the UK. I used to rebuild that tractor completely as new here in Kenya and sell them for 2-year guarantees. And there was in Dangoreti that I used to do that. I used to go to numerical machines. If there was something wrong with the camshaft, I had it made there. I went, where the block was broken, we fixed it there. So I think what we have is the capacity. So Mr. Chair, with those few remarks, I want to end, but I say this is the right thing, but in the wrong way. You don't need what we are seeing here. It is not what we want. We don't want a sledgehammer. We want to do it properly. Thank you very much, and I look forward to interacting with those people who have planned this policy. And let's not just do it because of the sake of policy, because it's been done by about 100 countries. Why do we want to be 100?
Very well. Your time is over. Well spoken, and I'm very happy that leadership is in the house. Honorable Wako is here and listening. I think the contributions are immense and good. Next to speak on this is Honorable Andrew Okwome, Karachuonyo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Now I support this, this motion and the persuasion that we have to look at unemployment position in this country. We have also to consider the development situation in this country. We must be innovative. We must